So I wanted to do a short tutorial about the importance of reference photos. Now, a reference photo is an image you find from Google, Pinterest, or online. You can take these images yourself too with the camera. You can find them in books. Reference images are just images based off of real life that you use to influence the work that you do. I use a lot of reference photos in my work. As you can see from this file, I'm a little bit disorganized when I use reference photos. They're scattered all over the page, and I put the drawings that I'm working on in the center of the page. For me, it's scattered this way because I'm not quite sure what direction I want to take the piece in, so I'm going to have different kinds of reference photos in the image to influence the direction I'm going to go. For instance, you can see in this one I have images of cats putting their face against another animal. Why do I have 6 images? It's because I'm trying to figure out the pose that this cat is in. And this one, let's see. I like this image because it showed the perspective of the cat's legs. Tail had a nice curl to it, a cool shape, and you can see the cat kind of in profile view. I think I definitely tried this pose out. At one point, I'm pretty sure the cat tail was like that. And you can see how that kind of gives the piece a different feel to it. Our eye kind of goes out of the piece this way. That was something I didn't like about the reference image that I had there. I don't want the eye going this way, and I don't think I liked the fact that the cat was in profile view. I felt like see more emotion on the cat's face when it was in the full view. Something I do is I keep my edits on different layers so I can toggle back and forth to see which one I like more. And in this case, I can tell that I like this version better because our eye goes this way and our cat's face goes down, but I feel like it kind of directs our eye back up towards the witch's face. Yeah, and this one, because the cat is looking this way, it kind of directs our eye down. Sometimes there's no right or wrong way, it's just figuring out which option works best for you. There are some other versions where the cat is off the ground. Then it forms kind of this triangle shape here. Well, that's great for leading our eye straight up into her. I wanted a more overall interesting composition shape that would kind of slowly lead our eye up into her with this bump right here. So that's why I didn't choose the version with the cat leaping off of the ground. Here, I looked at a reference photo with a tiger. A tiger isn't a cat, but they have some little facial features, so if I really wanted to use that pose, I could have just drawn a cat in kind of the same pose because I'm understanding what the tiger is doing. The whole head is tilted this way, so that means when I draw the other ear, it's going to be a little smaller there. I didn't use that reference photo either. So let's see, not using this, not using this, not using this. Not really using this because the cat's feet are on a ledge back here and I wanted the witch and the cat to be on the same plane. So while it is a helpful reference photo and kind of gets across the same mood, the head wasn't tilted in the right direction and the plane of the feet wasn't exactly right. Over here, this is kind of the same picture as this. The cat would be like this and it would be kind of sitting down. What I wanted in the piece was for it to feel like the cat had just walked over to the witch and had just settled right next to her. If the cat was sitting, it feels like it's sitting there for a long time. And I think I just had this in here because it was cute, not actually because I was using it. This pose was too active. This witch girl was feeling sad, so the cat needs to kind of comfort her, and this cat is kind of wanting to play, which would not actually comfort the witch girl. So it needed to be a less active pose. This one was the one I used the most. The direction of the tail is there. The feet are on the same plane like I wanted. And the cat's face is tilted, which I did with this cat as well. You can see in the final version, I added spots because the cat in this story has spots. And also, you can see that I was influenced by the color of the pants from this reference image over here. This pants, however, had this kind of crotch issue, but I changed it so the crotch was a little bit higher. And these shoes in particular, or well, socks in this case, were influenced by the patterning on these shoes that I found when I was Googling shoes from Bhutan, for instance. The Bhutan shoes. And there are a lot of different types of shoes that come up. This is where you get to choose what kind of reference photos you want from your piece. It's definitely not an easy task because there's so many different kinds and it's not like there's one right way to go. In this instance, I mean, I know I'm not getting modern shoes because the witch lives in a kind of a traditional aesthetic. And these are a little too sexy maybe for the witch because they're kind of high. She's more of a casual type of person, so she wants something she can just slip on. So that's why I also have to think of the story behind the character. These boots look cool, but they're basically what I used in the first piece, so I didn't want to repeat that again. You can see this is actually the image that I chose to reference, is this one. So it wasn't even in the first panel of search items that came up. I kind of scrolled down, figured out the options that I had, and then I went back, not A6, and then I went back and I chose this image to use. So basically when I just use an image, I just copy the image and I paste it into my document for reference. I don't like to copy the image one for one, meaning I would not lasso the item, cut it out, and then put it on my witch. That to me is one-to-one copying, and I think that influences your piece and makes it look more like a photo bashing. Even if you paint over it, it's just really easy to lose your voice in there. Maybe you wouldn't draw a shoe exactly like that. It wouldn't be so straight. I have this little subtle thing going on here where one sock overlaps the other sock, and if I had just copy and pasted this in there, she'd have just been kind of boring, like her feet would have been twinned. Twinning in animation is when two sides of a person are too symmetrical. Her 2 feet would be doing the same thing here. Just compositionally, it's also better too because the overlap of kind of how the feet is going now gives depth to the piece. So this is kind of basic perspective overlap lesson. Overlaps. When you don't have a perspective grid or like, very geometric shapes to show your perspective grid, overlaps are kind of the way to show the perspective. You can see I do it over here with the cat overlapping her, with her arm overlapping her, hat overlapping her. So that's kind of how I showed the depth in the piece. So just remember twinning, no. Anyways, so I started off with the blank socks, and then when I researched the witch's shoes, I realized I wanted to make it a little more interesting, so I added the same thing to the sock. And then with her pose, I found several poses of a girl kind of looking sad. I can't remember exactly what I did. Was it girl depressed? Oh, I think it was, I know what it was. Girl holding legs. No, maybe it was sad. See, there are a bunch of different search options that you can do that will lead you to the right image. And you have to figure out which search term is the best. Like, girl holding legs kind of led to a lot of yoga happy poses, which wasn't exactly what I'm looking for. The girl sad, adding an emotion to it. Yeah, this might be more along the lines. You can see this pose is kind of similar to what I'm looking for, except her legs are crossed. I wanted to see the girl's face as well, so this is the reason this image wasn't picked. Oh, before I even searched for images, I had a line drawing in mind. The way the witch should sit overall, and how her hat should bend. And I didn't quite figure out what the cat was doing. That's why I needed to find lots of reference images for the cat right now. Just like playing with a ball of yarn. I mean, in the brown you can see the cat is calling out to her, but I didn't think that was a good pose either, so that's why the black image was laid on top of it. And you can see I had other poses here where the witch is, I don't know, she's stretching. The cat's playing with her. She has magic, and I just decided to go with these two because I felt like they had the most movement in them and the emotions I wanted to portray. And another thing I wanted to point out was, see here that in this reference image, the pose is really similar to what I wanted to achieve, but there were some wrinkles on here that I weren't quite sure how they worked because in this reference image there are no wrinkles there. So what I do when I usually have a problem that the reference image I find on Google can't solve, I open Photo Booth and I take a picture of myself in the pose in order to figure out how it looks in real life. So in this one you can see I took several reference photos of me holding my legs, and I decided it was better to have the actual yellow shirt that I was basing it off of, which I already had in my closet, so I put it on and kind of took an approximate image to figure out how the wrinkles would work. Photo Booth is so simple to use. You can just pose it out, make sure the camera's at the right angle, you pose it out, and then there's a timer so you can take the photo. And that's pretty accurate to the process in which I take reference photos. So to sum it up, the process is starting with a black and white line drawing and then filling that in with local color, refining the composition, finding reference based on that composition, refining the piece even further, and then adding adjustment levels on top of that to fine-tune the color. Because usually I paint a little too dull, so it helps to have on top of that levels layer where I up contrast the whites over here, and then I have a color balance layer too. In the midtones, I emphasize the magenta in the piece because she's a warmer character. Emphasize the red, +7 red, +3 blue in the midtones. I guess, because it was going kind of green, so I wanted to increase the blue here. In the highlights, +7 red, because it's a little too green if it's that way. +10 green. Oh, because in the highlights I wanted, it's like a yellow light shining onto her. And then in the highlight area, again, just donning it a little towards yellow. Usually very small adjustments don't make a big difference, but at the end I just like to fine tune everything. I wanted to open up the shadows by making them more yellow and changing it to be a little more red. And sometimes, not in this particular case, but I go to new adjustment layer and I do hue saturation as well. But in this case, it's already pretty saturated from the color balance levels in the original painting, so I just leave that at 0 and don't touch the hues at all. And that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed my first process tutorial. The upcoming videos will continue to improve. I will get a microphone. Please subscribe and see more art on my Instagram, KelseyGang32, my Twitter, or my personal Facebook. Feel free to email me artwork that you want critique, because in the future I think I want to do a crit cast where I give helpful feedback on people's artwork and post that on YouTube so everyone can see. So feel free to do that if you want. Have a great day!